coming up here to share her story. Emily.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. I'm one of those patients at the end of the lens, and we truly do appreciate everything that you do on a daily basis to make sure that the patients you're working for get to, hopefully where I am today. As a stage 4 lung cancer patient, it's pretty much an anomaly that I'm here a year and a half post-diagnosis. The primary reason for that is the care that I received. I had to seek and find this care for myself and advocate a treatment method that differs greatly from the typical protocol. So my story. And again, you've probably heard many stories like mine. I developed a slight wheeze that turned into a cough. The cough got worse. I saw doctors and was told that I probably had asthma and was maybe developing allergies as well. An inhaler helped, but not always. After a few more doctor's visits, I visited a pulmonologist and was given a battery of tests and received confirmation that I indeed had asthma, no questions. This is when my first step in my path to advocate for myself began. I asked for a chest x-ray. To be honest, the doctors in the room might have groaned at this, but I had gone on WebMD the night before my appointment and seen shockingly that I exhibited several symptoms of lung cancer. My doctor, the pulmonologist, was confused when she saw the x-ray and asked me to come see it. There was an area of haziness in my right upper lobe, which she told me was most likely fluid. Nevertheless, she ordered a CT scan, and normally this can take weeks to get scheduled. But again, I took matters into my own hands and called around to find a hospital that would take me the next day. My pulmonologist broke the news that I had a tumor in my right upper lobe and that she thought it was most likely lymphoma due to my age and my lack of a smoking history. I received my first needle biopsy under this doctor's care, and this is where things got really crazy. The biopsy showed adenocarcinoma, non-small cell lung cancer. I was 28 years old. I was a former college athlete and state track champion. A week earlier, I had hiked 13 miles in the Malibu Mountains, and I had never smoked a cigarette in my life. Sure, I had a grandmother who passed away from lung cancer, but she was a heavy smoker. So how is it that I could be getting this disease? How could I be getting the same thing? And what was the next step? There's nothing that could have prepared me for this. We started by contacting family friends who were oncologists and called USC, UCLA, City of Hope, and decided to go with City of Hope. Within days, I had my first appointment with Dr. Karen Recamp, a thoracic oncologist. The primary thing I told her was that I was not the typical patient. I'm not 72 years old, I've never smoked, I'm healthy, and I don't want to be treated like a typical patient. I was 28, and I had a full life ahead of me. I wanted a doctor who would believe in me. I wanted a doctor that was willing to go outside the box and give me a shot. I found exactly that in Dr. Recamp at City of Hope. Even though I was frustrated that she told me surgery was not an option in the beginning, I didn't understand why I couldn't just cut this thing out. I knew that I was with the right doctor because she told me that she was willing to think outside the box and would push the limits when possible. Ultimately, I was negative for all known genetic markers, but trust me, I still know a little bit about what we're talking about here. Obviously, this was devastating, as I realized my treatment would not be catered to my specific tumor, and that I would be undergoing typical chemotherapy treatments. To make matters worse, the PET scan showed that my diagnosis was stage 4 due to the pleural involvement and mediastinum on my right side with no other metastasis. I began chemotherapy of carboplatin, Alimta, and Avastin. My first scan showed a nearly 50% reduction in tumor size. The next CT scan showed another reduction. I was fortunate at the time to be put in contact with the Bonnie J. Adario Lung Cancer Foundation. Bonnie and her team helped refer us to various second opinions. We met with oncologists such as Dr. David Gandera at UC Davis and family friend Dr. Kirat Vigala. In addition, I still met with surgeons at UCSF, USC, Mount Sinai, Cedars-Sinai, and City of Hope. Despite all of them telling me that it wasn't an option at that time, and in their opinion probably never would be, I still got opinions just in case I needed them down the road. I always stressed to them that I was different and assured them that how far I was willing to go as a patient to push the boundaries of what was typical care. One of those surgeons was Dr. Raja Flores at Mount Sinai in New York City. I felt that he saw me as a person who deserved a life, and while he wasn't able to give me surgery in the earlier stages, he was still a beacon of hope should I ever become eligible for surgery. After my 6th round of chemotherapy, the 3rd scan revealed a stable result. A further PET scan showed the primary tumor to have an SUV under 2 and no other visible signs of cancer in the lining or mediastinum. A brain MRI was negative as well. It was at this time that my oncologist decided that while unconventional, it was time to start going outside the box and exploring the option of surgery. She helped us in the quest, and we again consulted surgeons at City of Hope, USC, and ultimately Dr. Flores at Mount Sinai. After following me for 6 months and saying that I was not a candidate for surgery, Dr. Flores believed now that it was time to try. He wanted to give me a chance at a life, a full life, but he said it wouldn't be easy. Due to the pleural involvement of the cancer, there was a good chance he'd need to take out my entire right lung. In addition, he required high-dose radiation following the surgery in order to eliminate any lingering cancer cells. For most surgeons, removal of an entire lung was not an option due to potential reoccurrence in the future and the possible reduction in quality of life post-surgery. However, Dr. Flores listened to me and understood and was willing to give me a shot. For me, it was simple. I wanted to live. I didn't care if I never ran again. Life without running would still be life. At the end of January 2013, we flew from Los Angeles to New York City. Dr. Flores first performed a VATS biopsy and determined that a complete extrapleural pneumonectomy would be required due to the extent of the spread to the pleura. 4 days later, on February 8th, 2013, an extrapleural pneumonectomy of my right lung was performed. I was in the hospital 1 week and began walking immediately after surgery. By day 3, I was walking 2 miles in the hospital hallways. My husband and I relocated to a hotel in New Jersey near family. And at that time, I was walking up to 3 miles a day in the hotel exercise room. Although I experienced some shortness of breath and obviously some pain at the surgery site, never for one moment did I regret my decision. Having that tumor out of me, as well as any of the cells that were offending me, gave me a new beginning that I was so ready for. After 3 weeks, I began 28 rounds of high-dose radiation at Mount Sinai with Dr. Kenneth Rosenzweig. The radiation was to the entire right lung cavity with an emphasis on the mediastinum. To be truthful, this was the hardest part of my treatment. Due to the proximity of the radiation to my stomach, I experienced severe nausea and vomiting for days on end and subsisted on mainly yogurt and applesauce. I became weaker by the day and eventually had to resort to a steroid in the final week. It was absolutely debilitating, but never for a moment did I consider canceling a treatment. Never once did I regret the decision to sign up for this aggressive treatment plan because I was fighting for my life, and this pain and suffering was giving me a chance. I was investing in my future, and there was no way I was going to quit on myself. We spent almost 3 months in New York City. I returned home in April, a week after radiation was complete. And that was now 9 months ago. As you probably all know, recovery from radiation, especially the type and extent of radiation that I went under, is not easy. There were days and weeks and months where I was out of breath for 10 minutes just moving from one couch cushion to the next. But then there were signs that things were getting better. My first walk around the block, albeit a very slow walk, and I had to take a lot of breaks, but it was a walk around the block. Then my first flight of stairs, and my first time picking something up off the floor without nearly passing out from the exhaustion. And my first mile walking. I now spend each day focusing on regaining my strength. I walk 2 miles each day, sometimes more, sometimes less. I eat well, although appetite is still affected by chemo and radiation effects. I sleep at least 10 hours a night, and sometimes I get in a good nap. I meditate I take a variety of supplements to boost my immune system. Each month, I gain more and more strength and the ability to perform more tasks. My life has changed, certainly. I still can't return to work due to fatigue. My energy definitely wanes throughout the day. And sometimes simple tasks aren't quite as simple as they used to be. But as I said before, I never look back. I laugh each day with my husband. We celebrate all the little things and find something to appreciate and be grateful for each day. We no longer take things for granted. This is what I fought for. I believe that the best quality of life imaginable is mine because of this experience and the newfound love of life that it gave me. The notion that doctors told me I shouldn't do this surgery because it may reduce my quality of life absolutely baffles me because I look at where I am today. I am forever thankful to all of you in this room. You are here to help patients like myself. I want to only push one item on all of you today. Please treat each patient individually. Not only evaluate stage of the disease, but the factor of age, strength, will, and determination, factors that are not found on any of the forms and in any of the tests. Listen to your patients. Realize how aggressive we as patients are willing to go and be on the same page. Be willing to stretch the standard of care to within reasonable limits and explore any and all options with your patients. I hope you'll take that leap with them, and I hope you will push the envelope for them, knowing that each patient has a story and a family and a life that they desperately want to return to. Lastly, we're all here to talk about the molecular origins of lung cancer. While I was tested and didn't have any of the known biomarkers, I know mine is out there somewhere. I'm now looking to all of you to find mine, not just for me, but for my family, for the 9 embryos that I have waiting for me when I'm ready to take that next step, and for the countless other me's who will be diagnosed in the year to come.